Peace, blessings, salutations, real life, real talk. These are the days of our lives. So it seems that what we have is a failure to communicate um, with the American establishment. So we got a lot going on. Like so, you got you got the brother in Tulsa loses his life, and you know the loss of life is because it's almost like I'm gonna have to come up. I'm gonna have to come up with a list just to remember all the names, because I'm bad with names. So you got the brother in Tulsa, um, and the only reason I remember the cop's name who killed him, who murdered him, is because it to me because of the artist in me and the rhyme scheme. Betty, it kind of rhymes with Becky to me, and so I'm just thinking like Becky just took this guy's life, and even Trump was like, even Trump got in on it. I mean, and we know he was faking. Like, uh, what did she choke? What was she thinking? Yeah, well, all of our deaths. That's what all the people that have been killed up to this point, and that we've seen the video footage. We're all thinking the same thing. Like, what were all these cops thinking? Like, not just Becky, but all of them together. And so you got that. Then you got the situation with the brother in Charlotte, North Carolina, which that's kind of a unique because one, there's a sister who said she saw the whole thing and she said that the cop was white and that the brother didn't have a gun. The cops are saying that he had a gun and that the cop was black. And so yeah, but just the fact that this man sits here, he's got a history. People know his history well enough to know that he sits here every day waiting on his son. That same son now has no father. And so then you got the then I so you got all of that. You got all of that. Lord forbid that while I'm talking, somebody else doesn't get killed, because that's exactly what happened last night. I was live streaming. I think Kev Anthony was on here with and was like, "Yo, this happened while you were live streaming, so we couldn't even mourn the brother Terrence Crutcher before this act happened in this, not act but murder happened in North Carolina." And then you get some of these leaders who get up here, and it's quite disturbing, to say the least, because some of the phrases that they use. And they had I was listening as I was driving over here. I was listening to the NAACP leader. He was a leader of the NAACP. I don't know his name, but he was on, and he was talking, and the one word that he used, which kind of stuck in my mind. I won't say it resonated with me, because it didn't resonate, but it really stuck in my mind. The one thing that he used, talking about these senseless murders, these outright assassinations. The one word that he said is that we're is that Wolf, Blitzer, we're concerned. We're concerned. We have people being killed, and with, especially with, like, the brother in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And it was like he had his hands up, he was doing everything. And so when she murders him, it's like he says we're concerned. So like hypothetically, let's say I have a daughter and she's a straight A student, and then all of a sudden for a semester she drops down to C's. I'm concerned. I'm very concerned about that. Or let's say hypothetically that my wife gets sick, and we go to the hospital and she gets well, and then she gets sick again, and it continues. I'm concerned. However, I'm past concerned. We're losing lives literally on a daily basis. Black lives, whether it's black men, whether it's black women, whether it's black children, we're losing lives on a daily. I'm not concerned. I'm disturbed. I'm mortified. I'm have quite a bit of trepidation around cops. I'm a little uneasy. My blood pressure's a little bit higher than it has been. I'm maybe even, I don't maybe even a little frightened. But concerned, yeah, we're past concern because we've actually had real lives that are being lost. Not the appropriate type of words that we want to use. Concern is somebody still living and something's going wrong and we can't find a fix for it. But these people are dead, man. And I think that we don't sometimes, especially these leaders, these leaders, sometimes they don't get that these people are dead. Like this has become such normal operating procedure. We don't even know the right language to use. We don't even use the right language, man. No, and that's why I say we can't. One of the things is that we have to get out of this again, and I talked about it earlier on Dr. Boyce Watkins Channel. I don't want to go into it too long here, but I do want to mention it again, is that we have to stop allowing others to pick our leaders. We have to pick them. And we have to stop allowing the establishment to dictate the terms of the agreement. Like we sit back like pawns, like sheep, and look, and we're waiting to see what they're going to hand out to us. That time is over. So you have those two brothers. That just lost their life for nothing. For nothing. One guy is sitting in his car, and whether he had a book. And I said earlier, and I was being facetious, but I was also being real. I said even if he had a book, people look at that as a weapon too. A black man with a book, that's looked at as a weapon. We all know that. And I mean, look at Malcolm. What happened when he picked up a book? look at Martin. What happened when he picked up a book? So when I make that statement that a black man with a book is dangerous, that they look at that as a weapon, that's real. Because all black leaders, from Lumumba, Patrice Lumumba, to Kwame Nkrumah, to Muammar Gaddafi, and now I'm outside the U.S. Okay, let's bring it into the U.S. So we can start up from Nat Turner, before Nat Turner, we can go after Nat Turner. So all these brothers and sisters that picked up books, if they didn't pick them up for the establishment and play on their side, they end up dead somehow, some way. And so we have that. So we have these two brothers. Then the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals says that a sister was denied, was told in 2010 at her job that she couldn't have locks. Let me clarify. Let me clarify real quick that I don't call them. And for the context of the article, and if you've been on Dr. Boyce YouTube channel, I did an article on it earlier. But just for clarification's sake, so you know that where I stand, I don't ever call them dreadlocks. Now, the court ruling referred to them as dreadlocks. I don't call them dreadlocks. I call them locks. Because there's nothing dreadful about locks. These are natural hairstyles for black people. And, they were called dreadlocks because they were looked at as being dreadful by of course, Europeans. But anyway, we don't need to go over the history of that. But in any case, here's the situation. So the sister is at a job. And so, which I found this real appalling, to say the least. So they say that she can't have locks, and so she says why, and they say, well, because they could get messy. So of course the sister didn't cut her locks. They fired her, and she took her case to the EEOC, Equal Employment Division. They take her case they file a suit. I think in 2014 her case was the actual federal district court denied it, says that it wasn't discriminatory, and now the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals says that your employer can fire you and it's not considered discriminatory if their policy is that you can't have locks. And they say that the way the EEOC filed it is that this is part of black culture, and the court said, well, you know what? It doesn't matter what the court said, the specifics of what the court said. At the end of the day, they said, no, it's not discrimination. If your employer says that you're fired, basically you're out of there. And so it just lends credence to my issue that one, and I love Dr. Boyce for this. Uh, we have to get back to doing our own thing. We have to get back to our own businesses, and I know that that's difficult, and I know like right now, like people have to eat right now, people have to pay rent right now, people have to pay bills right now. I get that, but these are things that we need to be working on, like starting yesterday, but it's never too late. We're getting killed in the street, getting outright blasted. And then the courts is saying, well, they want you to look a certain way. And what was funny about this court? What was funny about this court ruling that I found because again, we're talking about the wording. We're talking about the wording, and we're also talking about signs and symbols for the conscious minds, and we're also talking about a court system that was born out of a slave system. So you're talking about federal judges and Supreme Court judges that own slaves. So in any case, so what I found funny is that they said it was not discriminatory for an employer to say that employee, no, you can't wear locks, and if you don't cut them or you don't get rid of them, that you're fired. But it wasn't but the employer could not dictate hair coloring. So a person could, whatever hair color a person wanted to wear. So if I want to come to work with my hair pink, it's fine. I just can't have locks. So anyway, I don't think it takes a lot for us to figure out what was going on there. Again, the message is loud and clear what's being sent. The thing is, are we hearing and seeing the message for what it is? The message is loud and clear. So, and then to top that off, I see them, and my eyes weren't deceiving me. This was sent to me. The video was quite lengthy, but I see them in New York City. I see them pat a man down. He's handcuffed behind his back. Which I find again just insulting. Like, can we see where we're moving? Can we see the fascist society that we're moving towards, or for better understanding, can't we see the police state that we're moving towards? So in the city of New York, they got this guy hemmed up. He's laying face down on the ground. He's got his hands handcuffed behind his back, because they just lay you face down on the cement now. It doesn't matter, because they don't really look at us as humans. They look at us as cattle. And so they're going through his pockets. He's surrounded by officers, which is, I mean, back in the day, one officer or two officers could stop you. This guy had 4, 5, 6, maybe 7. I don't know. It was a gang of them behind him. And so they got him handcuffed behind his back. They're going through his pockets. They're checking. Don't find anything. And they put this guy inside what appeared to be a body bag. They literally, it's on my timeline, so you can go see it. I mean, I'm not going to show it to you right now, but just go to my time. So they put this guy literally in what looks to be like a body bag, zip it, and then carry him off. But here's the catch. He was still alive. So what the hell is going on? So it's like, and somebody said that this might be the new way that they start arresting people. I'm like, so the thing is that, if we don't stand for something, we'll fall for anything. And in this case, we're going to die for it. If we stand for nothing, we're going to die for nothing. And so, and that's kind of the dynamics of where we're at right now. And so one of the things that has come across my line, and I share. I have no problem sharing. But one of the things that came across my line is well, two things. One I want to talk about is it's been a call to take uh, for all blacks to just take one day off, to just say F it, pick a day, say F it, nobody goes to work. And so which if that can be pulled off, um, if that can be pulled off, that would be that would say shoot, forget them and the money they're going to lose. That would say a lot about us, because up to this point, unity has been a real factor in us. In some of the things that have happened to us, but it's been a real factor in us really not having a set agenda, a set plan, a set strategy in place in how to deal with this. So then that was the issue. So on top of that, and I want to kind of tie this in, and I hope the Queen is listening to this. Queen hit me and was like, Yarima, I want to revisit the thing about black men having two wives, because of the climate and the way things are. Don't you think that would be that we should be looking at that? Uh, and my thing is before black men can have two wives, and she was speaking in the context of black men and black women. But my thing is, before black men can have two wives, black men and black women first have to get along. That's first and foremost. Black men and black women first have to be able to get along. We can't talk about having one wife until black men and black women can get along. So so that's first and foremost. As a matter of fact, we can't even talk about strategy and agenda until black men and black women kind of get on the same page, so to speak. So that's first and foremost. We putting things preceding what should actually be in place first. We have there's step stages and degrees to this. This shit really does have levels to it. And so yeah, we need to talk about that, because we still got issues amongst us to deal with. And so, but while we're talking about that, we do need to look at maybe taking not no maybe about it, but we really do need to look at taking that day, setting a day to send a message, because here's the thing. How many marches have we seen? How many marches have we seen prior to Ferguson, after Ferguson? Shoot, Rodney King back in the 90s. They was marching in Cali, so they marched in Ferguson. They marching in North Carolina now. We continually. I think they're marching in Tulsa too. So to a certain extent, let's look on the flip side and the positive side. We can come together to a certain extent. We can come together, but damn, it doesn't have to always be death, somebody getting their brains blew out in order for us to come together, man. It can't always be that. It's gotta be contingent upon our love for one another. And so the other thing is, and the other thing is we have to really start sending a message, getting certain businesses out of our communities. I like what this pastor said in North Carolina when he spoke today, and he said, hey, we Planned Parenthood, we don't need them in our communities. They don't have them out in the suburbs. These liquor stores, we don't need them in our communities. They don't have those out in the suburbs. You don't see liquor stores on the corner out in the suburbs. They wouldn't subject their children to that kind of nonsense. So why do we got it in our hoods? We have to step up our businesses in our communities, and they need to be black. We shouldn't be having to go in and argue with Arabs and Indians about in our communities. We're in our communities arguing with somebody because they got the power, because they got the store, and we don't even have a means to travel out to go to other places. So we have to really look at uh, 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 somewhat disenfranchising ourselves from the nonsense and the stupidity, and we have to start looking at things for what they really are. What do we have Planned Parenthood when we all know about Margaret Sanger? What do we have those in our community for, and why haven't we ostracized them and booted them out just by non-participation? So you don't have to go in and burn anything down. That's ludicrous. I wouldn't even waste a match. I can use that match to light candles that can get that I can use for the aroma in my own home while I work on my chakras and do my meditation. I won't even waste the match on them. Just don't participate. It'll feed itself. They get the hint. When there's no money coming in, guess what? Their business is going out. It's the same thing with us. We know how it is. Us business owners, we know exactly how it is. When no money's coming in, guess what? Our business usually goes under, which is why I'm so adamant about black business and promoting us. You see, I got some new stuff on today. 4000. So this brother's out of Florida doing his thing, and he's giving 3% of 3% of all proceeds that he gets in on his wares. He's giving 3% to nonprofit organizations that specifically are designed for issues dealing with our people and things dealing with social issues within our community. So that's a big thing. So we have to start thinking, man. We have to start thinking, and we're going to have to reach a larger group of people. We're going to have to reach a larger group of people. And I'm telling you right now, and people know who get on my page. If you don't know, you will soon find out. No coons and bootlickers allowed. No, because I have no problem with opposing positions. But when you're so far this way and we're so far over here, we have nothing in common. You have changed sides. And I respect that. I respect that. Because see, I respect enemies. I respect them. I respect them. That's why I study them like I do. Because I got that much respect for them, because I need to know the diabolical mindset that you have. So I have to study you. But guess what? I know that you respect me too, because they've studied us. They've studied our genetic DNA, the breakdown and everything. They've run so many tests on us, they still can't figure out how they have tried every scheme and mechanism that they can, and they can't wipe us out. And that eats them up. They don't know how they could run AIDS rampant, how they could run SARS, how they could run all these disease, all this famine, and we're still here. And guess what? We're not going anywhere. So the thing for us, since we're not going anywhere, proven, since we're not going anywhere, I guess it's time to start really thinking, using our brain cavity, and take back what's rightfully ours. Wouldn't you say? I'd say it's that time, because we're not leaving. They will leave before we do. It's proven. When they say black don't crack, that is real. And we got the remedies. We got the remedies for everything. I remember I was watching a PBS show one time, and this was years ago. They had this guy on, and over on the continent, I don't know what particular tribal community he was a part of, but his African name in English meant God. He said he had never left there. Now we're talking about a community. We're talking about a community where you got 80 and 90-year-old people still riding horseback. You got a community where the older ladies, 80, 85, didn't look a day over 40. This community. And they called this guy God. He spoke 99 different languages, had never left that region, hadn't been anywhere else. And said they was only going to let them in to talk briefly, because he didn't want Western civilization infecting where he was at. And if some of you have seen that PBS show, I can't remember the name of it, but this is real, man. This is the power. This is the power that we have. And those people, they wanted to look at them as primitive. But guess what? Their average age, those people's average age was 90, 100, 115 years old. We're dying off at 60 and 70. And that's if we're not getting killed first by the police or getting killed by one of us. So since we're going to be here, we're not going anywhere. The question then becomes, okay, we're going to be here. We're not going anywhere. So do we want to be slaves? Or do we want to be, and don't get me wrong, I'm going to say this, understand what I'm saying. So I was going to say, do we want to be kings and queens? But even kings and queens is such a Eurocentric. It's really a European type, because it doesn't really give the full context. When we say, I use queen because I want to offset bitch. I use king because I want to offset nigga, but at the end of the day, we are really netter and netterettes. We have to start somewhere. So so for the sake of this conversation, do we want to be slaves, or do we want to be kings and queens? Do we want to take our rightful place back? And being rulers doesn't mean that we take on the mindset of wanting to enslave others. No, that just means that we take on the mindset that we want to rule self. I Lord, am self master. So I self am Lord master. But anyway, so uh, businesses making a day to take a day off, which is so vital and important. Because taking one day. Um, Look, here's the reality of it. When we talk about one day, and people will say, well, it's one day. What's one day going to do? Do You would have to understand what we bring to this economy to understand what one day will do. So if collectively we're a $1.1 trillion consumer, at one day, man, at one day, because you're talking about a country that's $21 trillion in debt. So if we spend 1.1 trillion, or if together collectively we bring $1.1 trillion to the game, one day could be a devastating blow to any economy on the face of the earth, especially an economy that's in debt. So we need to think about that. My name is Yarima Karama. Peace, blessings, salutations. This is real life, real talk. Get with me. Check my webpage, www.yarimakarama.com. If you're just meeting me for the first time or just getting on, you can go there, check out my bio. You can also go there for my booking info, messaging, or to find out my performance dates and locations. Overstand, I will be in Flint, Michigan on Saturday, Saginaw, Michigan on Sunday for performance at UME Paint. I'll also be in Detroit, Michigan next month, October 7th. That will be off the chain. So with that said, peace, blessings.